Your Linux experience is defined by a set of variables called environment variables. These variables tell the operating system where in the file system to look for commands. They can change the way programs and commands operate, and they can even keep track of where you are in the file system. You can also define and set environment variables and use them like you would in a program written in another language. You can use Linux without touching environment variables, but they're very handy to use and set, and it's good to be aware of a few important ones that'll help you with troubleshooting. Let's say you want to share this reset example script that we just wrote with a friend. Instead of writing out a path with your username, like we do here, you can replace this with the environment variable home, and now the script can run for both you and your friend. You can also use environment variables in other languages too. For example, say both you and your collaborator have the same data set in a directory called data in your home directories. You have a script that you share with your collaborator that reads in this data. Rather than writing out the absolute path to the data in your home directory, you can use the home environment variable again in place of the path in your home directory, and now you can share with your collaborator without them having to edit all the paths in your code. Let's take a look at the home environment variable to start. You can enter the command echo $home in all caps to view what it's set to. The echo command prints its input to the screen, and the $sign indicates that home is an environment variable. By convention, environment variables are written in all caps, with underscores separating words when necessary. You can always type the env command to see what environment variables are defined. There can be quite a lot of environment variables, so if you know the name of the one you want to see, you're better off using echo. There are a few environment variables that are always set and are handy to know about. One you've already seen is home, which is the path to your home directory. Another is user, which contains your username. One of perhaps the most important is the path environment variable, which is often referred to as your path. This contains a list of directories separated by colons. Anytime you run a command, the operating system looks through this list of directories for the executable file for that command. Directories at the top of the list are looked at first, so if the executable is in multiple directories on your path, it'll choose that one first. If the executable for that command is in your path, it'll run, otherwise you'll get a command not found error. If you have an executable you'd like to use in a non-standard directory that is not on your path, you can either type out the path to the executable to use it, or add its directory to your path. You want to be very careful that you add it to your path environment variable and not remove what's already there. I'll show you how to safely add to your path in a minute. Now we'll look at how to set or change environment variables. Note that you should not change existing environment variables unless you know what you're doing. Remember, you can see what existing environment variables there are by running env. Luckily, if you make a mistake, exiting and restarting your current session should put things back the way they were. You can use the equal sign with no spaces to set an environment variable, like this. Now you'll see if I type echo myenv, it's set to sample var. You can also use other environment variables to define new ones. Here I'm using my home environment variable to define a new one that points to my teaching examples directory. Now what if I want to use an environment variable within a program that I'm running? Here's a short shell script that first prints out my home directory using the home environment variable, and then prints out the path to my teaching examples directory using the examples environment variable I just made. When I run it, I get my home directory as expected, but I'm not getting my teaching examples directory. By itself, an environment variable is only defined in the environment where I've defined it. If I want it to be available to all other processes I start from this point, I need to use the export command. Now, let's define examples using export. We do the same as before, except we add the word export at the beginning. Now I can run my shell script. As you can see, I get both paths as expected. As I mentioned earlier, there's a special way you want to update the path and other path-like environment variables. Say I've just installed some new software in my home directory, and the executable, my new command, is in the .local/bin directory. I can check if it's on my path by running which my new command, and I get nothing. If I try to run it, I get the command not found error. I can add it to my path by running export path equals home/.local/bin :path. By adding :path at the end, it's appending the original path to my newly added path. I'm putting the new location at the front of the path so it's searched first. Now when I run which my new command, it tells me that it's in .local/bin in my home directory, and I can run the command.